Tonight on Alaska's news source, it's a first alert weather day today with frigid temperatures settling over the interior and south central, with negative 20-degree lows in the Matsu Valley and near 60 below in Fairbanks.
The building has extensive damage. Part of the roof collapsed in one area of the building, so the roof is essentially on the ground.
No one is injured after a large fire at an Anchorage funeral home, what we know so far.
We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind.
President Donald Trump comments after the United States carries out a large-scale strike against Venezuela, capturing the country's president and his wife. Response from Alaska's delegation. And today marks another year of Alaska statehood. We take you back to that day.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Cold weather advisories and extreme cold warnings are in effect from the interior down to south central on this first alert weather day. Meteorologist Bailey Braun joins us now to share what we can expect from these frigid temperatures.
Yeah, Michaela, I mean, even just looking at our current temperatures outside, near negative 45 degrees in Fairbanks, and that's not even the low temperature for tonight. Of course, the big concern is always going to be that wind chill, but just take a look at what you can expect overnight tonight with these lows. Negative 51 degrees in Fairbanks and other surrounding areas in the interior could see 60 below temperatures for tonight, but even into south central, these temperatures are not usual and not typical for this time of year. Negative 21-degree lows for Wasilla, not at all what we're typically used to seeing. But of course, that wind chill is a big concern and something that you should be wary of. So just looking at our wind chill temperatures, with wind chill of negative 42 degrees, it only takes 10 minutes for frostbite to settle in. And of course, in some of these other areas, it only takes about 25 or 30 minutes for some of these other temperatures. A negative 54-degree wind chill only takes 2 minutes in Utqiagvik. So it's pretty crazy to see these kinds of temperatures, but it's really important to know the symptoms of hypothermia. So while hypothermia and frostbite might feel like the same thing, they are very different. One has to do with body temperature, and that's what hypothermia is. But frostbite is the breakdown of that tissue and your skin as those extreme cold temperatures begin to wear you down. So just looking ahead, completely clear skies, mostly sunny skies in the forecast for Sunday. It's going to be a fairly sunny Sunday all across Alaska. However, the big change that we're paying attention to will come Sunday night as this low pressure system pushes in, bringing snow to western Alaska, and this is going to bring snow into south central and heavier snow for southeast. So make sure you're ready for that as Sunday night into Monday approaches. But in the meantime, tonight into tomorrow is going to be sunny and calm with these temperatures pretty cold in Anchorage with that high at 3 degrees and that high in Fairbanks at 45 degrees below zero. Michaela?
An Anchorage funeral home has significant damage after a late-night fire, but it says everyone in its care is safe and sound. The Anchorage Fire Department says it received a call just before midnight that Keel's Legacy Funeral Home on the Old Seward Highway was up in flames. AFD says there was enormous structural damage. The department says firefighters were on scene in bitter sub-zero temperatures essentially all night.
It really does take a toll on our apparatus, whether it's a prolonged incident like this one or even just responding to a passenger vehicle fire. Having our apparatus out exposes it to certain cold weather related damage, and we're going to be as efficient as possible, and we're going to watch after our apparatus and still respond and help anybody that calls us for our services.
AFD confirmed that no one was hurt, but the cause of the fire is under investigation. The owner of Legacy Funeral Home says they have been making a concerted effort to reach out to all families. She says they are working closely with local authorities and their management team to assess the situation and determine whether any families or services were affected. And we're hearing from a Palmer car wash after the building burned last night. It happened at Super Suds Car Wash near the Palmer-Wasilla Highway and 49th State Street. The car wash posted online today saying they were working to salvage what they can.
It's we're not sure exactly how things are going to progress from here. We've definitely lost a good half of the building. My guess is at a minimum the car wash will probably be closed until summertime. More than likely we will rebuild.
An official with Palmer Fire and Rescue said last night that the building was not occupied and no injuries have been reported. And an official said the cause of the fire is under investigation. The city of Fairbanks is again saying today that you can take your trash to the landfill if it still has not been picked up. It has officially suspended all trash collections as this brutal cold snap continues. The public works director says the decision was a mix of mechanical failure and due to human safety. We're told hydraulics are failing, and more importantly, truck heaters can't keep up. The lack of warmth leaves crews at risk of frostbite as well.
We didn't need employees getting any frostbite or hypothermia or anything like that. We got to look out for the employees during these times of extreme cold because they'll push themselves trying to get the job done.
Officials hope to resume a normal schedule and clear the backlog next week. For now, they're asking everyone to keep bins covered to ward off animals or take it to the landfill. Still ahead, U.S. officials say the Venezuelan president has arrived in New York after he was captured overnight. We have response from Alaska's delegation.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
That's part of President Donald Trump's reaction following a precision military strike overnight that resulted in the capture of Venezuela's president and his wife. U.S. officials say they have arrived in New York, where they will face multiple federal drug and weapons charges. As Jen Sullivan reports, the Venezuelan government says the U.S. also launched multiple missile attacks.
Missiles lighting up the sky in Venezuela overnight Saturday as the U.S. launched strikes into the country's capital city of Caracas in a stunning attack.
It was clear that something was happening, and it was big because of the detonations that we heard.
Mary Mena, a CNN producer located in Caracas, says the attack led to confusion and fear.
Early today,
President Donald Trump announcing the attack on Truth Social and said President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured. Then later sharing this photo of Maduro in U.S. custody.
this was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might.
Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, face multiple drug and weapons charges, including narco-terrorism conspiracy and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. Venezuelans in South Florida celebrating the news of Maduro's capture. This incident follows weeks of rising tension between the U.S. and Venezuela. For months, the Trump administration has been targeting alleged drug boats coming from Venezuela in what it has called its crackdown on global drug trafficking. Maduro has denied involvement. While Maduro was seen by many as an authoritarian leader who violated human rights, the action to capture him and his wife has raised serious concerns about the U.S. violating international law.
The strikes overall and the activity in the sovereign territory of another country will certainly raise criticism from some parts of Congress, within our own government, and certainly from the international community.
Venezuela leaders say they have requested an urgent meeting with the United Nations Security Council in response to the attack. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
One source familiar says the president and his wife are expected to appear in a federal courtroom in New York City as early as Monday. Venezuela's foreign minister insists Maduro remains president, calling the U.S. action a violation. As for the military service members involved, the president said there were no U.S. deaths, but U.S. officials tell CBS News there were some non-life-threatening injuries. And while some in South Florida are celebrating the news of Maduro's capture, others across the U.S. held emergency anti-war protests today. This protest was held outside the White House. Protesters held signs that read "No U.S. war on Venezuela" and "U.S. hands off Latin America." According to the Answer Coalition protest group, emergency anti-war protests are being held in more than 75 cities this weekend. And Alaska's delegation is responding to the situation. Representative Begich said in part, "This was a powerful and flawless execution of American power and capabilities. Stability and accountability in the Western Hemisphere are core U.S. national interests. For far too long, criminal networks operating in our own hemisphere have exploited weak governance and corruption. The result has been poisoned streets, overwhelmed borders, and countless American lives lost to fentanyl and other illicit drugs. Senator Murkowski commented as well, saying in part, "While I am hopeful that this morning's actions have made the world a safer place, the manner in which the United States conducts military operations, as well as the authority under which these operations take place, is important. When the Senate returns to Washington next week, Congress has been informed that we'll receive additional briefings from the administration on the scope, objectives, and legal basis for these operations." And Senator Sullivan also commented on the operation, saying, "America and the world are safer." He said in part, Maduro was an illegitimate, indicted dictator who has been leading a vicious, violent narco-terrorist enterprise in our hemisphere that was responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans. He will now face American justice. The interim Venezuelan government must now decide that it is in their country's and people's interest to cooperate with the United States and reject Maduro's legacy of violence and narco-terrorism.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.